We're here in El Paso, Texas, where thousands of migrants have been entering the country illegally. We've been asking a lot of them here at the bus station, where are you going? Where are you from?
De Colombia.
Colombia? ¿Dónde va?
A Chicago.
Over the years, some American states have been experiencing unexpected turns of hardships as a result of immigration, which is causing them to fail. But one burning question is, why is immigration such a big factor in the viability of states? In this video, we'll be uncovering the top 10 failing states due to immigration. The impact will leave you wondering what the future holds for them. First in our top 10 states facing this struggle is Mississippi. Mississippi has turned into a place where people are leaving in droves despite its southern charm. Between 2021 and 2024, Mississippi's population decreased by an average of 0.17%. About 2,953,604.5 people per year left the state.
I'm in downtown Jackson, Mississippi. There is over 300 people, maybe 400 people out here. And I tried to speak to them in Spanish earlier. We definitely know they're illegal. They told us that much. And y'all check this out.
This is due to the influx of immigrants, with roughly 1 in 40 residents being immigrants, causing Mississippi to struggle economically to the tune of over $100 million annually. The lack of jobs has made it even more difficult to persuade newer generations to stay back in the Start 3.
Immigrant workers, and including undocumented immigrant workers, are spread across the labor force. And so they're not just taking jobs, like specific jobs from specific areas of the economy that Americans don't want, but in fact they're taking jobs from workers across the spectrum of the entire workforce.
But let's face it, citizens are having to make difficult decisions for their future. But number 9, Alaska is not left out in this crisis.
We are impacted by illegal immigration, even though we're in the far north. 2017 alone, it was estimated that we spent $97 million in welfare benefits and educational benefits and other costs dealing with those folks that are here illegally.
The state of Alaska is also on the brink of compass due to the unnecessary pressure of immigration. With 7.4% of migrant inflow to Alaska in 2023, it stands tall as number 9 on our list of failing states. In 2023 alone, 57,000 immigrants flocked into the state, signaling a troubling time for the economy. But as foreigners troop into the state, Alaskans are trooping out in droves. An alarm into Alaska has affected its living conditions, economic possibilities, and influenced a lifestyle that isn't for the faint-hearted. Number 8, Hawaii. The case of immigration in Hawaii is something else. While Hawaii may be a haven for tourists, many locals find the cost of living there to be anything from heaven. That's because high living expenses and a lack of economic prospects have skyrocketed. The cause? Immigration. Through 2021, 28,000 individuals and 6,400 families were living in poverty, with their median incomes decreasing by 3.6%. That's a loss of $3,200 in annual income. With the largest ratio of searches for moves in compared to movements out, Hawaii leads the country in inflow. There are just 100 out of every 252 moves in searches. Compared to other states, that is the highest.
So when it comes to immigration, Peter Dutton has shown he's a complete failure. He oversaw a migration system that was so riddled with holes that known criminals were being allowed into this country. And one such criminal lived in my electorate, Bing Jun Xie. He oversaw an underground network of sexual exploitation of vulnerable women. And he came in on a student visa under the watch of the coalition. What is extraordinary about this is that he had been convicted of the same crimes in the UK and had been jailed there, and UK authorities were flabbergasted that we allowed him in.
Okay.
I've never been homeless before. This is my first time. Sometimes I feel no matter how hard you try, there's always a barrier.
On one side of the island, tens of thousands of tourists are concentrated into condos and high-end hotels.
The state of Hawaii, which was once a dream come true for many, is becoming dreadful and inhabitable. Credits to illegal immigration. However, even the most breathtaking sunsets cannot persuade locals to stay in number 7, Oregon.
Good morning, everyone. I've been in this shelter from the beginning when it first opened. I'm 60 years old. I'm the oldest one in here. This shelter actually is, you don't understand, this shelter is a royal palace.
And the expense of its paradise becomes unaffordable. The case for Oregon failing is not particularly shocking. The main issue is the growing expense of living.
A taxpayer-funded group is offering $30,000 to new home buyers. Lauren, you cannot apply if you're an American citizen. What's with that?
From 2020 to 2023, housing costs skyrocketed by 20%, groceries climbed 15%, and transportation expenses rose 10%. This makes the cost of living in Oregon unbearable for the residents but comfortable for immigrants. Even though the cost of living in Oregon has gone over the roof, immigrants in number 6 Pennsylvania seem to be taking over from the locals.
Expecting babies.
People are upset. People are upset. I'm upset. We don't have anywhere else to go. This is our home. We didn't ask for this or consent to this. There's nothing we can really do. You're not allowed to complain. If you complain too much, you run the risk of getting sued. They've caused problems in our homes. There's a strain on traffic. They're wrecking their vehicles. They don't have insurance. They're getting free vehicles somehow from somewhere. That's not explained to any of us.
As from 2018 to 2022, immigration has led about 31,700 people to leave Pennsylvania, and its citizens are looking for jobs in states with more robust economies. Even though the state has a long history of manufacturing, many of those jobs have disappeared, leaving behind impoverished communities and stagnant wages as a result of the 1.03 million immigrants looking to better their lives in Pennsylvania in 2023 alone. If you thought Pennsylvania was going through a lot, wait till you hear that of number 5, Louisiana.
It's a good place to raise children and have a nice home. You know, this is your home.
Immigrant students in Louisiana cost the state's taxpayers almost $60 billion a year. In 2014, 63% of non-citizen-headed households reported using at least one welfare program, compared to 35% of native-headed households, according to a 2018 Center for Immigration Studies analysis. Additionally, non-citizen households use Medicaid 50% VS, 23% for natives and food assistance 45% VS, 21% for natives at significantly higher rates than native households. An estimated 4.8 million illegal aliens' offspring were born in the United States. All of them were granted automatic birthright U.S. citizenship due to our misguided interpretation of the 14th Amendment. Social Security cannot be fixed by mass immigration. Immigrants can sponsor many relatives, some of whom are already elderly, due to chain migration. Furthermore, immigrants age similarly to Americans. Mass immigration and chain migration are more likely to put additional strain on the system than to revitalize our workforce. Not only that, crime rate has been on the rise too. On July 21st, Honduran national Axel Flores Cordova killed Rylan Oncalia Crochet in a drunk driving crash in Lafourche Parish, Louisiana. The 18-year-old illegal alien was also driving without a license. Other passengers were injured and had to be hospitalized. All these has further led to the fall of Louisiana.
Million illegal immigrants, at least we know, 8 million illegal immigrants came in over the last 3 years.
You're not a sovereign nation without a secure border. Do we have a secure border right now? Absolutely not. It's a sin. Everything is coming through. Terrorists are coming through. Our enemies' spies are coming through. Drugs are coming through. Human traffickers are smuggling children both directions.
Of all states, who would have thought that number 4 West Virginia would be caught in this crisis too?
We have to flip this narrative that the government wants us to feel like we're doing something wrong. No one does anything wrong enough to be so hungry they want to die. And I don't care, I'll never believe that anyone has done anything that wrong.
Even though West Virginia is believed to be a safe haven for all, the impact of immigrants is having a great negative toll on it.
It's kind of hard when you don't live in the state of West Virginia to be able to understand what really goes on here. It's like feast or famine at this point, you know, survival of the fittest.
I have 2 jobs and a bachelor's degree, and I struggle to make ends meet.
The economy of West Virginia has had difficulty keeping up with today's reality. In the last 10 years, employment in the mining industry has decreased by more than 40% in the state due to the fact that immigrants are suffocating the already limited job opportunities with residents. The problem has been made worse by the fact that many communities no longer have the economic lifeline that they have depended on for decades. Next on our list is a state where prosperity and poverty coexist and danger lurks in the forgotten corners. Number 3, Illinois.
Over Biden's border crisis, a migrant surge coupled with a related rise in retail theft. In the nearby suburb of Oak Brook, Illinois, authorities say 6 migrants from Venezuela and Chile stole more than $10,000 along with merchandise from a Macy's department store.
Due to the fact that there is so much immigration inflow, property tax has skyrocketed and income tax rose to 4.95% in the last year alone, making it one of the highest rates in the United States, causing Illinois to over 140,000 residents in 2023 alone. And with the mass movement of immigrants into Illinois almost taking over the state, families are beginning to question whether Illinois is worth staying in, and the state's economic difficulties have even made matters worse.
I never knew what my parents made. I never had to worry about a thing. We just lived a really stable, typical middle-class existence. And for my children, they don't have that sense of security that I had. They know when I'm stressed.
Number 2, New York.
In this city,
everything like transportation, groceries, rent, just everything is just so expensive.
Housing is a big issue in New York. Its cost of living is $48.80% higher than the national average. Could you imagine spending $3,500 a month or your entire life savings to rent an apartment in New York City? Combine it with the 10.9% state income tax rate.
He's spending a lot. We still have persistent inflation. It may be slowing, but prices are still high.
No, I was going to just say, like, fruits and vegetables just seem to be sky high these days.
It's no wonder people are leaving. Younger people are jumping ship, dissatisfied by high costs, and looking for better prospects. As regards this, people are also placing a higher value on financial stability than the views in New York. Of course, New York still has a unique vitality, but the truth is that many people can't afford the cost of living there. And finally on our list, number 1, California.
I got fired from the coffee shop because my boss couldn't afford to pay us anymore.
In a crisis like this one, you have this new population of people who are unemployed.
A city that never sleeps, but its secrets hide in the shadows, waiting to be revealed. It may sound unbelievable, but in 2023 alone, more than 250,000 people bid California farewell.
Last time they took huge cuts that they had never had to take before. Well, the worst is that students aren't able to go to school.
So if the #1 public institution in the country has students such as me, what can someone that's 10 years old right now hope for the future?
Month after month after month, business kept getting slower and slower because everybody was afraid to start up a new production because they might strike at any minute now, and then they'd have to shut down, and it'd be so hard to start up again. So most companies just stopped production. And by the end of the year, it was like no production in California. And then the next echelon of tragedy hit the United States by having the economic fallout, and all this terrible thing went on with finance. So they lost so much money I could never recoup and start up again.
The cost of living in California is extremely high, and renting isn't much better either. It will cost you a fortune to get a 1-bedroom apartment. Not exactly a confidence boost for anyone considering staying in California.
For really decades, is just that the way incomes have grown in the United States and in California, most of the income gains have gone to the people at the top and not so much to people in the middle and at the bottom. And so, that compounds over time, so that, the people who are, middle class and people, who are working hard but are at the lower end of the wage and income spectrum, their incomes are just not keeping pace with the costs that everyone is facing.
Even tech giants like Tesla and Oracle have moved their headquarters elsewhere to cite better business environments. Conclusion: immigration is clearly changing things in a big way, and some states are really feeling it. Will Donald Trump intervene before it is too late, or will nothing happen? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. Catch you all in the next video.